Thank you so much. Really appreciate it. Good morning, everyone. My name is Sebastian Nalls. I use he, him as pronouns. I'm the healthcare and home and community-based policy analyst at Access Living. So we are what's called a Center for Independent Living. We serve and advocate for people with disabilities in the city of Chicago so that they can live independently within their communities. There are 22 within the state of Illinois. We are the largest in the state of Illinois and most likely the largest in the nation itself. So we do have a lot of resources, which does give us the privilege and the ability to do a lot of advocacy and lobbying efforts to go along with some of the services that we provide people. Um, I also usually tell people when they ask, what do you do as a policy analyst? I say that there are really two roles or two major functions within the role itself. It's really the development of policy and the advocating and the advocacy work that goes along with getting that legislation passed. And communication and storytelling is incredibly important for both facets of those roles, right? Our policies are formed through the lived experiences of our consumers and other people with disabilities across the state. It's my belief that creating those policies that are truly creating and giving a lasting and positive impact are built with community and not without community, right? Having an empty policy that is without community input and lived experience is truly not going to be an impactful policy. Two pieces of legislation that we've been working on over the last year, one being HB 1568 and then SB 2471. So those were ending asset limits and income limits for a Medicaid buy-in program for workers with disabilities. So traditionally, if you're on Medicaid, right, and we've seen that Medicaid has been cut, but plenty of people who are on Medicaid are people with disabilities, right? They receive key services to be able to live independently and be thriving in the community. So this would have allowed folks to continue to work, gain and attain wealth, and be able to live independently throughout the state. So right now we're in conversation with Illinois Department of Healthcare and Family Services to really flesh this out and eventually get this bill potentially included into to next year's budget, if not passed through next year's legislative session. But then another piece being HB 3853, which is the Protective Medical Equipment Freedom Act. Which establishes the right to wear protective medical equipment, masks, N95 respirators in places of public accommodation. All of these experience or all of these bills, pieces of legislation were built through those lived experiences. And our team of organizers works with the community to make sure that we're really encapsulating some of the issues, the concerns that are facing our consumers. The next piece is really that role of advocacy work, right? And getting that legislation passed. I am a registered lobbyist, and when people think about a lobbyist, they think about NRA, big oil, right? I say, well, look, Access Living doesn't have the money or the capacity to really write checks out for people, right? So I'm often a salesperson per se of stories that we utilize the stories of our consumers to really move legislators who don't often know a lot about disability. And being able to share those stories can also have a lasting impact. But a part of organizing is also building up our advocacy base and our consumer base, educating our consumers and giving them the tools necessary to be self advocates. We bring folks down to Springfield all the time to have conversations with their legislators, their own legislators, as well as legislators across the House and the Senate to really share those lived experiences. And not only does that help us with our overall mission, but it improves the opportunities for individuals to again be able to advocate for policies, meaningful pieces of legislation that will ultimately improve their lives across the board. Um, so again, storytelling, the ability to communicate with others is incredibly important in the field, especially when it comes to disability, because disability can be very, very much an unknown field for a lot of people, both in the policy space, legislative space, but it just overall across the country.
30
So being
seconds.
able to weave those stories and communicate effectively with people is ultimately some of the keys to getting legislation passed. And we're really excited about this upcoming legislative session. So again, thank you for having me here this morning and being able to articulate a little bit about what I do at Access.